Hello everyone and welcome back to Outspoken Market Global. Leandro Garri speaking, and today's class it's about this chart that you are seeing right now that it's known as the gamma profile, or also could be gamma exposure by strike. This chart it's pretty nice because it represents on the y-axis the gamma exposure itself in terms of its value, and then in the horizontal axis on the x-axis we have each one of the strikes relative to a particular day of expiration that we have marked over here. And this is a complement because visually you can quickly notice a couple of things. Where the gamma flip happens, and the gamma flip is the strike, or actually the price on which we have the transition between a negative gamma exposure, on we have the prevalence of the negative gaps of the red bars. So you switch to the positive regime on which you have the green bars dominating the chart. Usually the negative gaps are going to be positioned in the left hand side of the chart, while the positive gaps but will be in the right hand side. Eventually you will see this chart flip it, and then you have those bars horizontally, but the read is the same. And the reading here is whenever we are in the negative gaps, meaning below the gamma flip, we will have the dominance of acceleration of volatility. So whatever movement we have there in the price, it tends to be accelerated. It doesn't mean that this acceleration, just because we are on a negative gaps, on a red zone, that this is going to be a down movement. And the proof is we are here checking the same game with gamma profile chart, but for the S&P 500, we don't see essentially for this expiration no green bars. I mean, there are a few ones over here, but they are pretty small. The predominant regime is a negative gaps, meaning high volatility, acceleration of movement, and this movement could be up or down. And if we take a look, since the opening of the market, and here is the CFD of the S&P 500, but even if you go to the spot as well, we got a upward movement accelerated because we are below the flip. We are on the left hand side of that particular gamma profile chart. So whatever movement that you have here, it tends to accelerate and then go over the walls following a break and not necessarily a mean reversion. Also, these large bars are the places on which eventually you will face a little bit more of challenge to be overcome. So here you see that it coincides with the put wall for 1 day to expiration in this case, meaning tomorrow, that it's the 6,700, that it's exactly one of the biggest ones that we have over here. And the price it's accelerating towards to that. Since it's one of the biggest gaps, it will stop around for a little bit, and eventually it will accelerate if it's broken towards the gamma flip that happens at 16 actually 67.39. Here the gamma flip will be a resistance because we are coming from the bottom to the top in this case relative to where we are at the moment. If we don't break the gamma flip, hypothetically speaking, any downside that we have will be again in form of an accelerated movement because we are into the negative GEX profile. These levels, especially the gamma flip, are, in the case of a negative profile, the take profit zones, because we broke the wall level over here at 6,700. That triggered a long position with a take profit into the gamma flip and a stop loss eventually in the recovery of the wall going down, on which the price would accelerate downwards in this case. If we get back to the IBIT, here we already have the spot above the gamma flips, meaning that we are on the dominance of the green bars of the positive gamma exposure. And here we have not an acceleration, but a mean reversion process. And this mean reversion occurs mainly in the walls. So the market opened over here. It went a little bit up, and that it's absolutely fine, because the dealers that will be hedging their positions based on the delta and the gamma exposure will do this in chunks, not exactly every each one of the cents that the price, the underlying asset moves. And then we revert back to where? To another level. And then we keep the low volatility and the zigzag happening. The same movement happened last Friday, but last Friday we got a larger opening between the walls, so the movement went up there and then eventually it went back to the flip. Today we have here a more narrowed wall, or a distance between the walls. Likely will be around here. If we lose that, we will be coming back down to the other walls. But the point is, you see, all the movements, they are pretty slow, different from the major movements that we may have in the S&P 500, that in a few candles we get over. Everything is pretty dramatic. The volatility is much higher than the volatility that we have here. Of course, the IBIT, it's about Bitcoin, so the volatility is always high. But if I take a look in another day's volatility for the same asset, the volatility today, it's lower than what we got in the past. So this is how you use this. The last point, and then I close, the levels that you have either on the positive gamma or the negative gamma, that you have the highest bars, it's where you'll be looking for taking profit or for stopping your position in the case you get a movement that goes against you. Don't fight that, because again, I will repeat myself, these levels are the levels on which the dealers, they will hedge their positions. They don't like the directional risk, so they will be selling or buying the spot to hedge their positions. If they are doing this in a positive gamma, they will sell the top, buy the dip. If they are doing this in a negative gamma, they will sell the down and will buy the up, so the movement accelerates. Don't fight against that. So search for mean reversion when you have positive gamma, the price above the flips. Search for momentum when you have the price below the flips, and then the direction it's moving up or down, it doesn't matter. Go with the trend when you are below the flips. Okay, is that clear? If not, leave any of your questions in the comments or suggest a new class. I'm happy to do that for you. Also, I will invite you to join our Discord channel. It's for free. There, eventually, you can take any of your points, reply directed by me. So see you next time. Take care. Bye bye.